Hello friends, Ben here, and I'm about to make another Aircrete panel. And I've been seeing a lot of stuff on the internet and so forth about it, a couple of forums, people having problems with it. So I've made a few already. They're in the garden out here in the back that I make them about 6 foot long and 1.5 feet wide. And I use them to put together and make raised beds. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you how I'm doing it. It's pretty easy other than manhandling the drill by myself, but I'm going to try and give you a quick rundown of everything. And I have no assistant. I do all this by myself. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. So here's what we got to start off with. This is my backyard you're looking at, and I have some rain barrels here where I collect rainwater. Okay, so one of the big problems people have been having on the forums is with the foam collapsing after they mix it in with the cement. It doesn't last long enough. So I'm using rainwater because I'm on well water out here in rural Florida, and it's quite hard. And my first little test block really did collapse about 1/3 of the way. It was only like a 16 by 16 little block. So I'm now using the rainwater, and we're going to go in the garage here and give you a quick rundown right now. There is a compressor right there that I'm going to be using. Here's the air hose. So I've got a 55-gallon drum. We're going to put that right here. I've already got the form made up. Okay. So this is a piece of plywood, 3/4 inch plywood that's on the garage floor here, and I put a piece of plastic bag over it. And then it's just 1x4s, and I put the 1x4 edge form on top of the plastic, and I screw one side down, okay? And then I take my measuring tape and square it up with diagonal measurements to make sure they're both the same, and screw the other end down, and you know, making sure that it's square. Okay, and now I've got my caulk gun over here. I'm going to caulk the edge form down to the plastic because the Aircrete will leak out if it's not caulked. It pretty much takes all night to set up, and then you know, come back in the morning and you'll have a big puddle on the floor and it won't be in the form. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll see if I can maybe set the camera up here so you can see what I'm doing, and we'll knock this little part of the floor out of the way. How's that? Alright, so I've got it caulked in. The caulk's going to have to dry for a little bit. I'm going to go get my drum that I mix everything up in. Alright, so Here's a 55-gallon drum, and I found out, me doing this by myself, I have to do that with a metal drum. It's got 2 ribs there, and this theoretically holds 20 cubic feet. I'm sorry, 20 gallons. So this 55-gallon drum, and this is about 12 inches up, so I need to go a little bit above that. I figured by my calculations 15 inches of foamcrete will fill this form up. But because I don't have an assistant, I need a heavy drum so that when I'm stirring it with the mixer and the drill motor, that it doesn't start spinning, because my experience before was it really, you know, once it starts building up some consistency and getting some body to the Aircrete, you know, the drum wants to try and spin, and can't have that. So yeah, the first time was a little awkward, but after a little practice, you know, you can get this procedure down pretty easy. All right, so I need to go get the Aircrete gun. I've already got the drill set up, okay? I've got this type of sheetrock mud type mixer on the bottom of it, right? It can just sit right there in the drum for the time being. And we're already plugged into a GFCI, okay? Now we're going to be using water, so I've got a little portable GFCI, because we don't want to get electrocuted. Okay? Now, over here, I've got my foam generator, and I'm going to give a shout out to Honeydo Carpenter, okay, on YouTube. He has a contraption that he's put together similar to this, and I copied his idea. However, I've got a little bit bigger reservoir, okay? So this is 4-inch PVC, and with a 2-inch spout on the top there, right there, okay? And we've got the hose, which is just poly hose, and I made this little saddle thing down here to hold it, okay? Which is just plywood with a piece of 1x4, and it lets it rest there nice and easy, and it's kind of tilted down. Here's my air fitting, okay, which is going to hook up to this air compressor. Alright, and that's going to supply the air. We open the cap up, and I put the soapy solution in here. We have to have a airtight cap, okay, because this is going to be pressurized. And I know the PVC pipe says not to use it for pressure, but it's Schedule 40, so it does quite well. We have the air hose going to the foam generator gun, okay? And then this hose is coming from the bottom of the reservoir, right there. And it's got a brass air fitting nipple, like a barbed fitting there. Same as that one, so that you can screw it into, you drill a hole in the end of the reservoir, screw it in, and then you can take like a little heat gun or something and warm up the poly tube and just stick it on the barbed fitting. So this is 2-inch PVC, or I'm sorry, 1.5 PVC. Got a cap on one end, barbed fitting there, barbed fitting there. This is 1/4 inch inside diameter, this is 3/8. So this is the air supply, and this is the soapy solution supply. And I put a little valve here, okay, to turn the soapy solution on and off. This end is duct taped on because it has a cap just like this with a piece of 1/2 inch for just a nozzle. But I didn't glue this on because this is stuffed full of steel wool, okay? And what happens is the air pressure at about 90 psi is going to pressurize the system. We're going to turn the valve on, and the air and the solution is going to come into this gun that's full of stainless steel wool or copper steel wool. Regular steel wool will work, but you have to replace it pretty quick because it gets rusty. So this is just like regular copper dish scrubbers, okay? And it comes out looking like shaving cream, which is what we want, okay? So the nice thing is I can just let that hang right there and it's out of the way. For the recipe to make this formful should take about 20 gallons by my calculations of Aircrete, okay? Now you could go to Domegaia.com and people there are these are the people that are making the big dome homes in third world countries and stuff like that. Very amazing stuff, okay? And I think they're the ones that are really making this Aircrete material famous. And got a lot of help from them. They have a forum, and also they have a recipe, which is where I got the recipe from. So to make the 20 gallons, this is a 55-gallon drum. I need 3 gallons of water, okay? And it's equal parts by weight of water to cement. And I've already got the cement over here. So we're talking about Portland cement, okay? Type 1-2, Portland cement. It's just the powder. There's no aggregate. There's no sand and no rock in it, okay? So it's just the cement. And what I like to do is weigh it out. So I've got my bathroom scale here, and I like to put some plastic, like some saran wrap over it, just to kind of keep the cement from messing up my scale. Keeps it clean. And I like to weigh it out because it's a 1-to-1 ratio. I'm sorry, it's a 1-to-2 ratio. 1-to-2. Okay, I'm sorry. 1-to-2. 1-to-2. 1 part water, 2 parts cement. So I'm going to need 3 gallons of water, and water is about 8 pounds a gallon, so that would be 24 pounds of water, which means I'm going to need about 48 pounds of cement. So I'm going to measure out approximately 48 pounds. Now, we're not baking a cake here, so you know it doesn't have to be exact, but I try to keep it pretty close. So we're already set up. I've got my scale. I've got a container. I put a plastic bag here to try and keep things from getting too messy. And the first thing we're going to do is measure out 3 gallons of water. I've got my 1 gallon pitcher, and one of the things that came out on the forum is people having trouble with the foam collapsing, okay? And what I've learned is I'm on well water out here on Florida's nature coast, okay? It's rural. And the hardness of the water will collapse the foam too early before the cement sets up. But I harvest rainwater off my roof. Okay, so that's what we need to make the cement slurry with. Now, we need to make the soapy solution, and I'm going to make 1 gallon of that. So I need 1 more gallon of water to mix up the soapy solution for the foam generator. I don't want to fill it all the way up because we're going to have to stir it a little bit. Okay, let me get this out of the way. And I just got a little single car garage here, and with the rain coming every day and stuff, we're going to do it inside. So, the soapy solution for the foam generator. I got this at Rural King. It's Drexel FM 160. The FM stands for foam marker, but they use it for like, I guess farmers put it in their sprayers so they can mix it with their pesticides or whatever and see where they sprayed it out in the crop fields. But we're going to use it. However, you can use Dawn dish soap. So this is called 160 because it's 160 to 1. All right, that means 1 part of the solution to 160 parts water. Well, in a gallon that comes out to 2 tablespoons. Okay, so I'm going to make 1, 2 tablespoons of soap is all you need to a gallon of water. And that is the soapy solution. Okay? So now, the soapy solution is going to go in the reservoir. However, there's some already in there, okay? So I don't know how much it's going to take, because there's some left over from the last time that I made one of these. Let me see if I can do this without making a mess. No, I can't. Yeah. So we just want enough of this that we don't run out and have to stop and do it again. You'll be able to tell when it's getting full because there, the foamy, it starts kind of making suds and it'll start coming out the top. Alright, so that's all we need there. We'll put the cap on. I've got my pair of pliers here. I like to put my foot on there and hold it because I got to crank it down pretty tight. So it doesn't leak air. Now our foam generator's ready to go, but I like to test it, okay? Before I start mixing up my cement and have a batch of wet cement in here and then find out I got a problem with the generator, like this poly tubing likes to crack sometimes, we're going to go ahead and turn it on, and I'm going to shoot some in the bucket, and you're going to get to see what it looks like. Yeah, like this, like maybe the valve might be stuck or something. So this is going to make some noise. We'll go ahead and take that thing off right there. We're just going to hook this up to the air fitting right there. So there's a problem with the valve. The little plastic valve stuck and now it's leaking all over the place. I think it just broke. There's soapy solution going everywhere. Alright, hey everybody, Ben here again for take number 2. And like I was saying yesterday, I like to take the foam generator and hook it up ahead of time and make like a little bucket of foam, because if anything goes wrong I won't already have cement mixed up. So we still got the water in here, the 3 gallons of water, but I actually had to go to hardware store and buy another little one of these shut-off valves, which you don't have to have, but I like to have. Okay, so it was $10. This is just a little stop valve. Okay, and it just push on to connect, push to connect. So you just push it onto the tube like that. Make sure it gets all the way on there. And then here's the other end of it. I had to tape it up because this tube is coming out the bottom of the reservoir. I didn't want all my soapy solution to run out onto the floor. So this is pretty simple. You just push it together like that and it sticks. It comes back apart if you push that collar in, but that's in the instructions. Okay, so I'm going to turn it off. And I need to crank up the compressor, so it's going to be noisy. Okay, so the compressor's just shut off. I got some air pressure there, about 90 psi is what the valve is set to. Now all I got to do is plug this in and it's going to start making air come out of the gun. Just like that. But we've got the soapy solution. Turn on the valve. And there it comes. The foam generator is working. You can see it really makes some, it's not quite like shaving cream, but it's very fine. So it's coming out okay, and you know, it's not quite like whipping cream or shaving cream, but it is very fine. Okay, it's really, really, really sudsy. Okay, so where's the rag? Now that I know that the foam generator is working, I'm going to go ahead and mix up my cement slurry, and like I was saying yesterday, it's a 1-to-2 ratio, okay, by weight. So the water is the 1 part and the cement is the 2 part. Water weighs about 8 pounds a gallon, so I need 3 gallons to do the 20 gallons of cement that it's going to take to fill up this form. And by the way, let's do one other thing first. The form is already set and screwed down and squared up, but I got some PAM no stick spray here for cooking, and I'm just going to use that for a form release agent. So and now I'm going to measure out twice as much weight as I have water out of the Portland cement, just cement, no sand or rock. I use a little bathroom scale here, so I do this like 10 pounds at a time. So here comes the fun part, and this is what I've been doing. Now I've got 10 pounds right here. I've got my drill with the mixer on it and the 3 gallons of water in the bottom, which only comes up to a couple of inches down there. And I've got my drill, since we're using electricity around water, I've got the GFCI plugged into the outlet there. And it's going to be a two-handed operation here. I'm just going to start shaking a little bit of this cement in there a little at a time and run the drill. gets a little dusty. Okay, so that's all I do. And you know, you can make sure that it's getting stirred up at the bottom pretty good. It's really wet and soupy right now. So that's one. And I need 5 of these. Okay, so it's getting thick. I'm going to have to put 2 hands on the drill. Okay, so it's pretty much like thicker than cake batter for sure. Okay, there is our cement slurry. And now we're going to mix the foam in with it. Okay, so here we go. Now, the one thing about when you're doing this is the whole time that we're mixing the cement up, it's of course getting harder. Okay, so we want to keep it going. But I do want to mention that the compressor's going to be coming on. It'll be noisy. But the foam is going to try and float on top. Okay, but what I'm going to do is try to get it to mix down into the bottom of it with the mixer. Okay. And what I like to do is I'll just let that hang right there. And it'll shoot the foam right in there. And as it's shooting it in there, I'll mix it in and I'm going to keep an eye on it. And when I get up to right about there in the barrel, we should have enough to fill that foam up. I have to edit that out. Okay, so you want to start out with the compressor at about 90 psi. Okay, so all I'm going to do is plug this in, and we'll be going. Turn the valve on. It looks like I've run through all my soapy solution in the reservoir. But we still got a half a gallon here. So I'm just going to disconnect the air pressure and open this up, and I'm going to pour some more in there, and we'll get going again. Okay, that's all right. I want to get this part right here. Okay, so, no, sorry, you don't have to shoot. We're almost up to the rib, so I'm running out of solution. I'm just going to do a final mix. Okay, so as you'll notice, it is really fluffy. The cement is like whipped cream. Okay, so let me just take this outside. Just give it a quick shot of water out there to get the paddle bit mixed up. And now I'm just going to dump it into the form here. All right. And here we go. It's a little awkward. Now, I've got a trowel right here, steel trowel. And most of it came out. In there, but not a lot. Maybe that nice little bit. And that's going to have to do. Now, anybody that's messed with concrete before will know that on construction sites, we vibrate the concrete to get the bubbles out. But here, we want to mess with this as little as possible. It's almost like Bondo. The more you mess with it, the worse it gets. I'm just going to smooth this out just a little bit, even it up. I can juke it a little bit. And we don't want to play with it too long, because every minute that I play with this is going to make the bubbles start rising to the top. And then they'll be uneven and rough. Okay. So that's pretty good. And one thing I have been doing when I'm making these panels is I have some bamboo stakes here for tomatoes. Okay, so I like to take a few of them and throw them in there for reinforcing, because this it'll still be lightweight. The bamboo's quite strong, and they're already the right length. And we'll just set a few of them in there, space them out a little bit. like that. Just about like that. Now I'll add a little strength to it because the Aircrete doesn't have a lot of cement. It's like any concrete mixture. The more cement you put in it, the stronger it is. So I've got some more of these already cut down to go in the transverse direction. And we'll just space them out a little bit. And there we go. That one's kind of close. And now I'm just going to push it down in there. It wants to try and float, but that's all right. Okay, so that's that. I'm just going to try it one more time. And I've got an edger. Just like for making sidewalks. Just going to run my edger over it real quick, kind of knock that edge down a little bit so it doesn't want to crumble when we take it apart. Put my logo in there. There we go. There is our Aircrete panel. And we're done. Not too hard. I can't stress enough, don't play with it like regular concrete. Regular concrete, you can trowel it and trowel it and trowel it, and the more you trowel it, the smoother it gets. That is not the case with this stuff. Once you get that smoothed out, leave it alone. Because if you come back in even 10 minutes and try and touch it again, my experience is it's already drying on top because of the air that's entrained in it. And it's just going to smear and make a big mess. So, once again, another shout out to Honeydo Carpenter and Domegaia, okay, and I'll put some links to their stuff in the description of this video, and appreciate you watching. Hope it helps. All right, good morning. Ben here again, and this is the morning after we poured our Aircrete panel, and it's been about 12 hours, so I got my mess cleaned up, but just want to show you the finished product here. Not quite, I haven't stripped the form off, but as you can see, it's set up. It's kind of got the consistency of styrofoam, and it's going to sit like that for 4 days at least. Okay, now I've got a piece of plastic over here. This is just a piece of a trash bag, and what I'm going to do is take my 1 gallon container here and just put another gallon of rainwater in there and pour it on top to water cure the Aircrete. And I'm going to pour the water on there, and then I'm going to put that piece of plastic and stretch it out over the top of it. Because one of the things you don't want to let concrete do is to dry out too fast, okay? It needs to cure slow. Once it sets up and gets tight, then it's time to start putting water on it. And it can sit like that for 4 days. You know, it's especially important when it's warm like it is here on Florida's Nature Coast. So that's what I'm going to be doing right now. And then in 4 days, maybe 5, the longer the better, because the cement content of this mixture is way down from what concrete is. That we'll just let it take its time, and after 4 or 5 days, I'll go ahead and take the screws out of the form, strip the form off, and then I can pick it up, and I'll take it out here. I'll show you what I'm doing with them. In my garden, I'm making these raised beds. Okay. So I know the garden ain't looking so great, but this is what I'm doing with my panels, is making these raised beds. So there's an extra panel right there that I've already done, and there's one laying over there waiting, so the third one will get cut in half, and it'll make the 2 ends, so they come out to be about 3 foot by 6 foot planters. So I'm trying to learn how to grow some real food. And yeah, there's my scuba gear soaking. I was out diving on my anchor on the sailboat yesterday. My anchor got hung up on some debris on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and that'll be it for a few days. In about 4 or 5 days, I'll strip it out and take it out there to the garden. And the cool thing about the Aircrete, if this was actually concrete, that panel would weigh about 253 pounds by my calculations. But I actually weighed one on the bathroom scale we were using to measure the cement, and it weighs about 80 pounds. So it's heavy, but it's not extremely heavy. It's not something that a little kid could do, but you know, if you got any construction experience, you know, 80 pounds is not terribly a lot, and that's what we end up with. There you have it. Hope everybody has a good day, and I hope I put enough details into the video for you. If you have any questions, you can just put it in the comment section. Thanks for watching.